There's a few different ways that I think can get our blood pressure rising about the Manti Te'o stuff now. And they really don't involve Manti, I guess. The two ways I think we can look at this now, we already mentioned them a little bit. Jack Swarbrick in his press conference and the media coverage of the story in general. Let's start with Swarbrick, who gave one of the more, well, up until Thursday and Friday when Lance Armstrong took the camera. On Wednesday, Jack gave one of the more insulting interviews and press conferences I've seen in a long time. They did not waste any time on Wednesday releasing their statement. It was about 45 minutes after the Deadspin report that Notre Dame had released their statement. I mean, they were so quick to not just support Manti, but to kind of demean anybody who didn't believe him in this.
Well, and then they come out and they say, oh, we've known about this.
Yeah, since the end of December.
And then it goes to, we've made our investigation. But you're not going to see our investigation because we're not making it public.
Fun fact about that private investigation, by the way. There are many fun things about that private investigation. They never once interviewed Manti Te'o. Never once. They said they hired an outside firm. Did they just find a couple guys outside of South Bend to just pick up and just start looking at this stuff? The most emotional story that we have seen this season is a complete lie. And then you say, we were always out in front of it. No, you weren't. Otherwise, Wednesday wouldn't have happened. They were so quick when it was a football player that was a victim in all of this, in this catfishing hoax. But when a student falls off a scissor lift during football practice and dies, or when a student gets sexually assaulted by a football player and then kills herself a week later because you try to cover it up, there is nothing. They don't do anything.
And that's the problem that I have with Swarbrick. My blood pressure was boiling when I read his statements after Te'o sat down with Jeremy Schaap.
Oh, I haven't read these
yet. Never been thinking so. Right now, he is at the bottom of the barrel. He is scum.
Yeah.
From the comments that he made. Based on how Te'o came out and talked by saying he had every right to tell his story in the manner he chose. He was the victim. We wouldn't say that about the victim of a violent crime.
Wait, what?
You have got to be kidding me.
What did...
He says Te'o had every right to tell the story the way he did, and they wouldn't say that about the victim of a violent crime. What is sexual assault to Jack Swarbrick? Seriously. A woman kills herself because she says she was sexually assaulted, and you don't investigate it until 5 days after she kills herself, 15 days after the incident happens. That is ridiculous. How sick can you be? The U.S. Department of Justice estimates 95% of assaults on campus aren't even reported because of perceived institutional barriers. Notre Dame is at the forefront of that. I mean, that is just sick. You do not come out and say something like that and act like all your athletes are angels, especially when it ended up costing the life of an innocent girl.
It's like he was cognizant of that. It's like he actually knows that people are bringing this up again, and he said that like directly to the people who are talking about this.
He's rubbing it in the public's face.
Yeah,
that is what he's doing, and it makes no sense. The man has no conscience. We have learned that. He has no conscience.
Yeah. It makes sense for how Notre Dame's operated. There's two sides to it. If anything tries to harm it, they are quick to the defense. If they are harming something, then they will try to hide it. That has been Notre Dame.
And on top of just that idiotic. I mean, I could think of a lot of words that could describe Jack Swarbrick right now that I can't. Yeah, we cannot air those. On top of that, he says that's the most compelling thing about this interview. He talks in the present tense. He talks about all of them as if they are people. This is so chilling, such an insight into his mind. In my 5 years as athletic director, only one student athlete has told me they love me. It's Manti. It's who he is. Swarbrick and Te'o are the most gullible, boneheaded people.
They could have a sitcom.
Oh, I just have more and more of a headache. And then he goes on to talk about Tuiasa Sopo and this group that played this hoax, saying these people were really good. It's as if all these people were playing a video game. High score wins. The highest score in this game these people are playing is for ESPN and NBC to tell your story. They are the winners of the catfish game. They got the highest score ever, and when the flowers arrived at the funeral, they probably said, touchdown. They weren't really good at it. You're just really dumb. Look at what Deadspin reported. Look at all the different dates that were reported. None of the story makes sense.
Well, and we'll talk about the media aspect of this after the break here, but don't you think with how much attention that this story got, with how much focus Notre Dame got this year, that someone in that building would kind of look at the details, would speak to Manti and say, something's not lining up right now. They used this story for a Heisman campaign. The school did. I mean, don't you, like, somebody in that athletic department, someone in that lot, we've heard teammates come out and say something was weird about this. But nobody with actual authority who saw the impact this story was having, it was breaking through the sports news mold and actually becoming news. Nobody ever looked at, wow, no one knows when she died. No one can find a death certificate. Like, did anyone look? Did anyone actually try in that university to make sure that this was real?
They just took people's words for it. And in today's world, you cannot do that. Same reason why Wikipedia isn't a given valid source on anything newsworthy. But apparently at the University of Notre Dame, somebody's word is.
More on the Manti Te'o stuff. We'll look at the media side of this and how the media might be partially to blame for everything that happened. This is the Sunday Sideline Report
on ESPN 1380.